Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Popular Stranger. I couldn't do my original intro because I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. I think I might be getting sick, but we are back here again today with another episode of MUT Recap. It's our weekly series here on YouTube where we go over everything that's happening in the world of Madden 21 and Madden 21 Ultimate Team. Let's go ahead and start the episode by going over our weekend league, and I actually did not finish all my games this weekend. I put a little bit more focus, I got to reiterate that, on no money spent this weekend. I wanted to play some more games on that account to try to get some rewards so we could go ahead and, get coins on that account. But we played pretty decent this weekend, 13 wins, 6 games to go. I'm confident we would have won at least 16 if I played through the rest of them. With 6 games left and 13 wins, I'm sure I could have won 3 out of 6. Getting back to 18 would have been a little more difficult, but I think we still could have done it. Weekend league this weekend was it was pretty normal. I think the only thing I really struggled with a couple times, there was 2 different games, I was actually getting block shedded to death, and I know there was a patch that came out earlier this week that increased pass rushing. I never thought it was a problem to begin with, at least on All Pro. I still honestly don't think it's a problem. I just got caught against somebody who had, pass rush, abilities on both of their defensive ends. And I, up until Sunday, have never used any type of abilities on my offensive line. And I paid the price for it a couple games there. So, it was a cool weekend. I don't really have much to report. I don't think I noticed much difference in the gameplay since the patch here. The biggest problem that I will forever and always have, if you've been watching me long enough, you guys already know, dropped interceptions. I feel like my win percentage in this game, if my opponents who made terrible reads and threw into double and triple coverage, if they paid for it, right? If those interceptions, those dropped interceptions became interceptions, I swear I would win so many games, and I know a lot of you probably feel the same way as I do with that. Man coverage is, still the meta on defense. I'm running it. People who are pretty good at the game are typically running it, so that's something that is tough to beat, but if you have the right route combinations, you certainly can. A lot of people ask me, how do you beat man coverage? In a really quick summary of how so, I mean, you gotta have like a combination of a crossing route, maybe a deep post or a corner route, an angle route with your halfback, like just things that are going to get separation. And honestly, you have to have like 3 to 4 of those types of routes in one play at the same time, because somebody who makes pretty good adjustments with the man coverage being so good and has a good user, it can be tough to move the ball on them, and also just running the ball. QB draw is another kind of pain point in the community. I've had a lot of people, especially this weekend, coming to my Twitch chats and say, I hate the QB draw, how do you stop it? I luckily have not really faced somebody that runs it a lot. I've faced it before, but it's kind of here and there, maybe 3-4 times a game. The only thing that I know that stops it pretty well is cover 4 palms, and you typically have to spy 1 or 2 of your safeties, which can leave you vulnerable in passing, right, in pass coverage, so you got to be careful there. But if you absolutely know, you feel very confident your opponent's going to run something like that, that's the best way to stop it. The run game, I don't think it's great at all. I see these comments on Twitter about how the run game is OP, it's tough again, it's just as bad as Madden 20. I mean, I strongly disagree there. If you play somebody who's really good at running, of course you might struggle stopping it, but for the most part, I felt like there were a lot less skilled players last year that could literally come out in I form, run stretch, get good blocking. Your defense would dumb out, pursuit angles are terrible or were terrible. They're still kind of bad this year. And I don't think we're anywhere near close to as bad and frustrating as Madden 20 was. So again, my weekend league, I wish I would have played all my games to see where I ended up, but I'm going to be out of town this coming weekend, so I'm not going to be able to really play for monthlies. And I figured, you know what, we got the time, let's spend a little more dedication towards the no money spent squad, see if we can earn some coins there, because I don't really need the coins and the rewards on this account, obviously. So let's go through the top 100 here. We'll not go through it, but see what gets you in the top 100. Couple pro players on there. We got 5 people who went 25-0, including Pavin and Kiv, who are, obviously pro players. Clubs coming up this week. So one thing that I get a lot of, right, is that the weekend league's just super sweaty, and I agree, and I've been saying this for weeks. Club series, all the club qualifiers are basically starting I think today, Monday, and so I think you are going to see a lot of these pro players spending less time playing, public matches, if you will, and more so focusing on their tournaments and trying to win money. So you might start to see, after this weekend league become a little less sweaty, but we'll have to wait and see. Looks like 20 wins get you in, and this week, I think last week it was about 16 or 17 deep. This week, almost 40, so 44 actually, right? No, 34, I'm bad at math. So we're seeing a change right now, right? Less wins needed to get into the top 100, quite a few people with 20 wins there. I would not be surprised soon if, we get to a point where 19 wins get you in within the next month or so. But we'll see. Let me know down below in the comment section. Was there anything you struggled with? Anything that really worked for you? Give me your success stories as well. How many weekend league wins did you get? And let's go ahead and recap the week of content. So, of course, as always, with the week of content, Monday comes around, we get nothing. So last week, the same with this week. I know a lot of you were looking for information this morning on GMM about the Most Feared promo, so we'll talk about that now. No new information, unfortunately. I'm starting to think it's going to be either Thursday or Friday. Was not optimistic at all that it would come out today. A big promo like Most Feared usually is going to bring a special stream or some type of stream dedicated towards that to give us information, because there's usually a lot going on. In years past, I think last year as well, there was like a 2-parter for Most Feared. We're running out of time now with Halloween coming up, so if it doesn't start until Thursday or Friday, I fully would expect it to be kind of a 1-part thing. Hopefully we get some house rules along with it, because it's been a while since we got house rules. But that's really it for last Monday and today, to be honest. Tuesday, of course, is Team of the Week, and I think last week's Team of the Week, I might be a little bit biased. It felt like the best Team of the Week drop so far this year. So the limited was Chris Harris Jr. I didn't really see anybody in Weekend League using that card. I would assume that really only like Broncos and Chargers theme team owners are going to be using it, because it's a bit pricey because it's a limited card, and there's just so many better corners out there. But Team of the Week limited was Chris Harris. The Player of the Week was Claypool, of course, and we picked up that card for the squad. He balled out 4 touchdowns against my Eagles there, which is a familiar trend. Seems like every year, multiple weeks, we give up a card, or a player gets a card based off of their performance against the Eagles. They get a Team of the Week, and that's probably going to happen this coming week as well, which we'll give our prediction shortly. But the Chase Claypool card, really, really good. Fast, tall, meets a lot of the route running thresholds. The Offensive Player of the Week, this is where my bias sets in, Randall Cunningham. Even though they put him with the Vikings card art and he wears number 7 instead of 12, it looks a little weird. But Randall Cunningham, really, really solid card. The Defensive Hero, I didn't really agree with this one with Lance Briggs, mainly because a couple days before that, the legend on Saturday was Ricky Jackson, and Briggs and Jackson, same position, almost similar stats. Didn't make sense to me. Too similar of cards to come out in such a small window, like a 3-day span. So that one was kind of an L, but it still wasn't a bad card. It's like a cheaper version, basically, of the Ricky Jackson card, which is really, really good. Now, for Wildcard Wednesday, they threw us a little bit of a surprise, and it was a good surprise. I didn't see it coming. Normally, we're Wildcard Wednesday, we're getting 5 cards from, various programs. And this past Wednesday, we got power-ups, which is cool. Now, they gave a bunch of guys brand new power-ups, and a lot of them, I didn't really understand it, like Landon Collins. I think his best card is a gold card, if I'm not mistaken. It's not really good, so some might predict that that could have something to do with Most Feared content. I don't know, but I think the overall W of this whole Wildcard Wednesday was the solo challenges that came out. If you completed them, you got a 50 power-up fantasy pack. And these do expire, so make sure you play them if you have not. I believe they expire Wednesday or early Wednesday morning or late Tuesday night. So go play them right now if you're watching this video and you haven't, because it gives you a fantasy pack where you get to choose one of the power-ups from the 50 players for the first 3 or 4 weeks, I think 4 weeks. So it didn't include this week's players, but it was, I mean, it was good for the market because it dropped the pricing on a lot of these power-ups from 2, 3, 400,000 coins down to about 50k. Even DRC, which I think is the most popular one, is like right under 50k. So that was good. And the earlier that you did them, the better, because, you know, you were able to sell them quicker. So I got to sell a DRC one for like 100 or 90k. I would expect them to do this again, but not this Wednesday. So I'm thinking maybe a couple more weeks of the 50 players, we get something similar to that. So it's very important when this does happen to play those solos as fast as you can, because you're going to want to be able to sell the card, assuming you don't need it, to gain the most profit. So be on the lookout for that. We are going to drop a video some point soon going over maybe one power-up for each team, one guy that maybe needs a power-up for each team, now that we know we're getting a power-up expansion. So that was a cool thing. Thursday, we got our normal limited cards. There was a bit of a mistake when the card was teased, so we had a Vita Vea card, which teased out with 86 speed. Definitely a typo there, because if his card actually would have had that type of speed, it really would have been insane. Mixed in with the block shed, I mean, his QB, he would have been the best QB spy maybe in Madden history, for at least for a defensive tackle. So we did get the 2 limiteds there. Again, Vita Vea was one of them. Here he is right here. Matt Stafford was the other. I would say if you compare these 2 limiteds to all the other Thursdays where we've gotten limiteds, this was probably the weakest one, the least desired one. I didn't really care for either of these cards. The Vita Vea card wasn't bad, though. I'm not going to hate on it, but it just wasn't, you know, it was not really worth the hype, unfortunately. But, you know, nevertheless, I hope that they give every NFL team at least one limited card on Thursdays. Gives you something to look forward to, especially if you're building out theme teams. Friday, which we've been really good with content, and I don't want to say it was a bad content day, but we've been used to kind of getting like 2 content drops on Fridays, and some thought maybe Most Feared would have happened last Friday, but it didn't. But we got week number 4 of the 50, and I think we got 3 pretty solid cards. So Antonio Cromartie, man coverage, press coverage beast. I got him on the squad. We'll show you that in a moment. Patrick Willis, good card, but I think because so many people have Sam Mills powered up pretty high now, this card becomes a little, less relevant, a little more irrelevant, to say the opposite there. So I wasn't going after this card. I can't even say I saw it in Weekend League a lot this weekend. And then Vernon Davis was the 3rd card, very fast tight end, good run blocker. I actually played against this card in Weekend League a couple times and struggled. Like he mossed the heck out of Denzel Ward one play, and then another play he just burned Antonio Cromartie actually on a corner route. And so maybe this card isn't as bad as I thought it was. Not that it was bad, but I thought his mid route running was a little weak. It's like 84 or 85. I think it's 84. And you want to get to that 90 threshold, and it's very difficult to do that. So this card's actually not bad if you're looking for a tight end with a little bit of speed. But I got a feeling that George Kittle's probably going to be due for an upgrade soon as well, maybe for Most Feared. And then Saturday, we got our Legends, which was, kind of forgettable for the Legends. Edgerrin James, Deacon Jones. I'm worried about Deacon Jones being replaced really fast with an Aaron Donald card, possibly for Most Feared. So this one was like I'm not going to go after it. And then Edgerrin James, good running back, but there's just better running backs out there, like Reggie Bush, obviously Barry Sanders, though he's much, much more expensive. And that was really it for the week of content. Not the greatest week, but we still got a lot of content. Wish we'd have got more. Wish we'd have got Most Feared. Hopefully that's coming really, really soon. Let's talk about this week. Not much to talk about. Obviously, we want Most Feared. When do we get it? Who knows? Not sure. What we do know is Team of the Week is coming Tuesday, and with Team of the Week, I got some predictions here for you. Matt Ryan, lots of yards, lots of points for the Falcons. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. I don't think Henry will get a card, but we got to mention his name because of what he did in a 1 week span. Don't forget he played, Tuesday night, or was it Monday? I think it was Tuesday. He went crazy against the Bills, and then yesterday, another crazy game against the Texans. I truly believe, though, Derrick Henry's going to get a Most Feared card. I mean, that kind of seems like the promo that's fit for a guy who's that tall, that strong, that fast. So Derrick Henry needs an upgrade soon. Hopefully Most Feared. DeAndre Swift from the Lions. I think he had over 100 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe Miles Sanders could get one, but I doubt it. Justin Jefferson, fantastic rookie for the Vikings had another stellar game. Maybe he gets an upgrade or a new Team of the Week card, I should say. Calais Campbell, I talked about players performing well against the Eagles and getting Team of the Week cards. Campbell with 3 sacks in one game. He's almost a lock to get a Team of the Week this week. A former Brown and current Jaguar, I think, Joe Sherbert, whatever his name is. I think he had, whoops, pressed the wrong button there. He had a sack and a forced fumble, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe he had an interception and a bunch of tackles, one of those. He did good. Trey Flowers had a sack and a forced fumble. So those are my predictions. Leave it down below in the comment section who you think might get a Team of the Week card. Wednesday, Wildcard Wednesday. I keep making this prediction. I continue to be wrong about it. So if I do it enough, at some point it's going to happen and then I'll be right. So we're going to swing for the fences again here and say this Wednesday, Wildcard Wednesday, they go back to heavyweights. Heavyweights go up to a 90 overall. That's my expectation. But who knows? Maybe they throw something else in there. Maybe it's Campus Heroes. I keep hoping for that. Thursday, of course, we'll get the limiteds. And I'm going to go make a prediction that Thursday is also the day Most Feared comes out. We'll see, though. And then Friday, of course, we're getting new 50 players. Possibly Most Feared on that day. Saturday Legends. That's really it. Hopefully with Most Feared. And I think I'll be dropping a prediction video tomorrow. Hopefully we get some house rules as well. That's been lacking from MUT. Seems like forever now. And that's really the week of content we had and the week of content coming up with my guesses here. Quickly, we'll go over the squad so you guys can see the upgrades. We did go ahead and pick up Randall to be QB number 1 on the squad. Kept Vic, though. So you guys know I talked about it. QB draws a little tough to stop. I figured I'll keep Vic on the team. We substitute him in to run a couple QB draws throughout the game. Don't spam it. I'm not like a player abuser with this particular QB draw and having Mike Vick, but he's there if I need him. We did pick up the Chase Claypool, replace Steve Smith with him, so that card's been pretty solid. Other than that, I don't think the offense has changed at all. We did do some shuffling with our ability points, and now Lane Johnson and Joe Thomas have the edge protector on them. We also went with outside route apprentice on Kelvin Ridley to give me that deep post, which is so good against man coverage. And that is my offense. On the defensive side of the ball, I think the only change we made this week was picking up Antonio Cromartie, moving Nnamdi to CB number 4, getting rid of Deion Sanders. And as you can see, this is kind of how my defense is assembled. Loving my team. I expect us to be a 93 after or at some point during this week, or probably right after Most Feared comes out, because I'm sure we're going to be getting some new and better cards. And that's all I got for this episode of MUT Recap. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.